Chill with your brother Frank Nitty. What's good in the city? Come chill with your brother Frank Nitty. What's good in the city? Come chill with your brother Frank Nitty.
Office 22 months ago. I knew this job would be hard. But I'll be honest, I never could have imagined anything like this.
It's being called an act of terrorism in the state of Michigan.
Tonight we're learning more about the group's plot to overthrow the government and put Governor Whitmer on trial for treason. 6 men are accused in the kidnapping. Another 7 are accused of trying to target police in the state capitol. This is a look at 10 of the men who are right now facing charges.
It's an investigation that spans the state involving 200 law enforcement officers. Search and arrests warrants were executed in more than a dozen cities, including Canton, Clarkston, Shelby Township, and Waterford.
And it was being planned apparently for months. Here's a look at the timeline. According to investigators, in March, really the beginning of the pandemic, a militia group was brought to the FBI's attention. In June, members began meeting and recruiting others. By July, they were training with guns and attempted to make explosives, according to the allegations. Surveillance of the governor's vacation home was underway in August and September, and apparently they plan to carry out the attack this month. We got complete coverage tonight at 11 with Jason Colthorpe with a look at where these men were training.
But we want to begin with Mara McDonald to take us through these stunning allegations, Mara.
Kimberly, in all, 13 men charged, and the reasoning behind their alleged actions, they were angry over the governor's executive COVID orders, which they viewed as tyrannical. The feds became aware of the various alleged plots early this year. The suspects are from Metro Detroit as well as the rest of the state. All either consider themselves part of the group Wolverine Watchmen or are affiliated with that group.
Adam Fox, Barry Croft, Ty Garbin, Caleb Franks, Daniel Harris, and Brandon Caserta conspired to kidnap the governor from her vacation home in the Western District of Michigan before the November election.
The feds raiding this mobile home in Heartland last night belonging to Ty Garbin, one of those accused, at the same time moving on this home in Waterford belonging to Caleb Franks.
And I just know that the FBI and the Michigan State Police worked incredibly hard in a coordinated fashion. This is unlike anything we've ever seen before. The brave men and women of these two police organizations really put their lives on the line to keep me and my family safe, and I'm incredibly grateful and humbled by the work that they do.
The Department of Justice charging 6 in the Whitmer kidnapping plot. AG Dana Nessel charging an additional 7 with plots to attack the state capitol, target law enforcement officers, and instigate a civil war. We know at least 2 of those men, the Null brothers, attended a rally at the Capitol, which was used as a recruiting tool to find like-minded individuals who believed that Whitmer was violating the Constitution with her shutdown orders. The recruiting turned into in-person meetings, some, the feds say, taking place in the basement of this vacuum store in Grand Rapids, where Adam Fox, one of the key figures in the alleged Whitmer kidnap plot, lived. The FBI was listening to everything that was being said through 2 informants, and while there were original suggestions of storming the state capitol to take the governor, the men turned their eyes on her vacation home in northern Michigan as the kidnap location. She was then to be taken to Wisconsin to stand trial for what they viewed as her treason. Whitmer, for her part, is laying the blame on the president for the group's actions.
We know every time that this White House identifies me or takes a shot at me, we see an increase in rhetoric online, violent rhetoric, and so there's always a connection.
Back here live, if you look at that federal criminal complaint into the Whitmer kidnap plot, you will see that at least some of the members of that group were supposed to meet up yesterday to buy explosives and tactical gear. It's going to be interesting to see whether any sort of meetup actually happened. And Devin, Kimberly, I do think it is important to point out that the last time that the FBI and the DOJ charged a militia case in Michigan was 2010. It was a raid on what was called the Hutari. They were a militia in Lenawee County accused of anti-government plots, of trying to kill police officers, planting bombs at police officer funerals and things of that nature. That case completely collapsed in federal court. We are live at the Capitol tonight in Lansing. Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Incredible. Okay, Mara, thank you. Also tonight, President Trump is reacting to the kidnapping plot.
Yeah, a little while ago, the president appeared in an interview with Sean Hannity on Fox News by phone, criticizing Governor Whitmer.
I see Whitmer today. She's complaining, but it was our Justice Department that arrested the people that she was complaining about. It was my Justice Department that arrested them. But instead, she goes and does her little political act, and she keeps her state closed, although we just won the big case, as you know, to open up Michigan, because what she's doing is a horrible thing to the people.
Before that interview, the president tweeted in response to the governor's comments, "I do not tolerate any extreme violence. Defending all Americans, even those who oppose and attack me, is what I will always do as your president."
Today, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden also weighed in.
The senator talked to the governor earlier before I landed, and I talked to her. She's feeling secure and good, and I think that the FBI and others deserve a great deal of credit for what they've done.
The FBI says the group used a rural area in Jackson County as a training ground to run through scenarios.
Munith property was home to 2 of the militia members. Jason Colthorpe with new insight into some of the men involved from their neighbors and what we found on social media.
This was a training center in the sense that, yes, many of them met here. In fact, neighbors saw dozens of men in their military fatigues out here, and they often heard shots fired, but not very high tech. All you have to do is look at the tires behind me. That was actually a makeshift shooting range.
Beautiful country out here, and all of a sudden, out of the peace and quiet, bam, 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 for hours.
Pam Karshnock lives next door to the home on Dunn Road in Munith that was raided early Thursday. Many neighbors had been fed up with all the shooting there in recent months.
I was going to confront him a couple times. My husband said, no, don't. That's why people move to the country, yada, yada. And I thought, well, the times we've got with the gun rights and so on, I better not say anything.
She and everyone else came to learn today this was much more than just some guys firing automatic weapons when the men who lived there, Pete Musico and his son-in-law Joseph Morrison, were arrested in a terror plot to kidnap Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
I'm still shaking. I'm still shaking knowing it was that close to me, and just thinking back to the times I almost approached them to ask them to stop.
There's hundreds of millions of other people in this country that think the same way I do.
The 42-year-old Musico has posted several videos on YouTube sharing his disgust with the government at all levels.
We're tired of it. We're tired of the tax to fix things when the taxes are already there to fix things. The money needs to go where it's supposed to and not into politicians' hands.
In addition to the shooting, neighbors had seen several men in militia fatigues at that home on Dunn, and just yesterday, something more than gunshots.
Yesterday, my husband heard the boom, so apparently that was the IED being tested, but it shook our windows, and that kind of, scared us.
You can imagine what neighbors are thinking out there. A lot of them wouldn't even go on camera with us or give us their names because they're afraid of that. Now, we should point out the feds, according to the feds in that affidavit, Morrison and Musico are the founding members of the Wolverine Watchmen, an anti-government, anti